What's up, everybody? I just thought I'd make this video really quick. I just finished up with a different one, and something came to mind I wanted to mention when I was walking or driving home from picking my son up from school, or going to pick him up rather, and I saw, I think it was just a pickup truck with an American flag in the back bed hanging out, and big ass mud flaps and tires, and you know, it's kind of the running joke that whenever you see a truck like that, you know, people have that old, oh, little dick association. Not that this is true and not that it matters, but the point is that society, people in general, have various different outlooks on tough guys. And the tough guy syndrome is something that I just wanted to talk about since I've never mentioned it. What makes a tough guy? You know, it's not about the little dick syndrome, big truck. It's about little ego. And the more that we yearn for acceptance, and the more that we yearn to be part of something and part of a group, the more some people tend to lean towards the tough guy attitude. And these aren't always bullies, but they're generally not people who were picked on themselves unless they become officers and want to get revenge, you know, through being a cop. There are some people who grew up being picked on and they end up picking on others, but generally if you've been the guy that's picked on, you know that you don't want to be the guy that picks on others. And that's kind of the point, that once a bully, always a bully, and a lot of people really are that way. And I've seen too many of these guys who, it's not the truck, that was just my example, but you know the type, you know, the redneck baseball cap type guy who basically fits every stereotype of, you know, of redneck, if you will. And the thing is, mentioning that will offend someone, because there's surely somebody out there watching who associates or calls themselves a redneck and is probably offended. Well, I've met some pretty cool fucking rednecks, I'll be honest. It has nothing to do with being from the South or being a hillbilly or being a mountain man. It has to do with the cliche redneck that maybe even the city boy that wants to act like a country boy or whatnot. Somebody who wants to fit that type of, you know, bullish mentality. And the specific types of people I'm talking about are the ones who are always criticizing others. The ones who always have to put somebody down. The ones who use terms like fag and always have something to say about anything that's going on politically, whether it's gays or feminism or any of the current hot button issues, because they know that they can get somebody riled up and upset. And often these people, there's a lot of metaphoric, you know, redneck type attitude, if you will, online, even from people who otherwise may not even feel that way. So there's a lot of false hatred that's just trolling. But in day-to-day activity, encountering people, we have a neighbor over here who revs his car up every day. I hear him screaming at his wife. They're constantly fighting, and fuck you, fuck you. It's just absurd. It's a pretty quiet neighborhood, other than that guy. And it's a whole, you know, like a street over. But whenever I hear people like that, it seems that they have consistent problems with the people they're with. These are people who get themselves into situations where, you know, their whole life is about muscle cars and beer, and yelling at their wife just becomes the norm. And I can't imagine what it must be like to grow up with a kid in that atmosphere. So my point here isn't really to harp on anybody who wants to be a tough guy, but rather to say, if that's not a tough guy, then what is? And over the years, people have started to believe that, well, no, intelligence defines what makes a real man, if you will. You know, how well can you function? And so then, you know, nerds will dominate the world, and nerds have the money, and they're the ones with the good jobs, and so they started seeing themselves as men. I think it comes down to this. What makes a man, and I hate using that term because it's so very generic and stereotypical, but what I mean is what makes a tough guy. What makes you tough as a man, or a woman for that matter, is not who you can beat up, nor is it what you can think up. It's how you cope with life. What makes you tough isn't your physical, literal skin. It's your metaphoric skin. If somebody pokes you and prods you, and you explode on them, then you're probably not a tough guy. Some of the most thin-skinned people appear to be the most confident, and they will show you their confidence. We've even taken one as a leader of our country. You know, people are that desperate to see a tough guy and to think that that's what a tough guy is. They're all around. They're everywhere, you know. But no matter how many people you can beat up, no matter how many guns that you can shoot, no matter how smart you might be with words or being able to insult someone else, whatever it may be, being tough means being able to be resilient and cope, and to be able to fall into a discussion with people and to function as a member of a society. Anyone can be tough by themselves. Being tough with others is a bigger challenge. So those are my thoughts on it. Talk to y'all later. Have a good night.